Yes, it's fine. Mike Orks. Testing. Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear us now?
I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, everyone? Just give me confirmation. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Please, guys, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Say yes, sound now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's see the comments.
Yes.
Yes, okay, sorry guys, sorry about that. I'll start again. Welcome to this month's Coffee Club. Chaos and stewing at the beginning, but we're getting there, right? It gives you time to get ready. Yes, I'm wearing a Mexican hat because this month's theme is the Four Bourbons. That's a sort of Western theme we've given it. But as I was saying before, we don't make jokes here at The Right Roast. We're very serious about specialty coffee. And although I'm wearing a silly Mexican hat and we have silly cowboys representing the beans, it's very serious. These are Four Bourbons. And we like to explore things in a more serious way here at The Right Roast in terms of your coffee. So fun theme, but serious coffee. 4 Bourbons from 4 different origins by 4 roasters that we have on our marketplace. So the celebration is today all about the 4 Bourbons. This is why I'm wearing a Mexican hat. And yeah, we're going to be tasting one, which is a pink Bourbon, Langøra, 2 red Bourbons, and a Peaberry Bourbon. So that is super exciting. And the flavors, they're very varied, and we'll be talking in detail about them. But first, let's go through what it takes to do a cupping. Because a cupping, as I say every month, is press-ups for your taste buds. It's an exercise in understanding flavors, is connecting your brain with flavors. So it's your mind connecting to your taste buds, and therefore to your heart. Mind, taste buds, heart. That's how you increase your love of specialty coffee, with an increase of understanding and an increase in flavor detection. So today's exercise is about flavor detection, picking up the differences, the similarities, and understanding them will give you greater coffee in pleasure. So let's get going with the basic rules of cupping. I'll go through it quickly because I do this every month. You need 2 spoons because you're going to be doing a lot of scraping and scooping out. So they don't have to be cupping spoons. Tablespoons, like big soup spoons will do. 2 glasses with water in them because you're going to dip into one to clean the spoons, then you're going to dip into another. So then neither of them are for drinking. Just have a 3rd glass of water for sipping. Then you're going to have your 4 cupping bowls, 5 if you've got the mystery orange bag. And you're going to get enough water for them, so you don't want to run out of water halfway. Put at least of water in your kettle. And as you can see, no need for any fancy kettles here, no goosenecks or anything, just a regular kettle. Boil the water, and then it's just grind the coffee to the cupping grind setting, of course. 12 grams in each cup, filling it up to roughly 200, which is about full in a cupping bowl. So if you have cupping bowls, it really gets quite easy because you just need to grind and then heat the water quickly and then pour the water to the full in the cupping bowl. And that's what cupping is about. It's designed for sort of speed and purity of taste because you're not going to use any filter paper or anything like that. So you're going to get the naked truth about the coffee and you're going to be able to replicate the experience very quickly. That's why you do it cupping style. So you can go boom, 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 boom. Because if you were to brew these in a regular filter paper, doing 4 cups would take you about half an hour to brew. Instead, it's going to take you about 5 minutes to brew 4 and get them ready. So let's get grinding, shall we? I mean, should we jump into it straight away?
I think we should.
I want to make sure I cover everything. Okay, sorry guys, I've just got to make sure I cover everything. And do let me know if there's no sound or anything like that. I've got to make sure that microphone works properly. So, 4 Bourbons. Why did we choose 4 Bourbons? Well, because the Bourbon coffee bean is a major contributor to the world of specialty coffee. Now, if you look at the tree, the sort of do this after today's session. Now, one day we're going to have a big screen behind me and I'll be able to bring this stuff up live. But I want you to imagine, if you will, the tree of coffee bean varietals. And if you go back down the tree, because today there's a plethora of coffee bean varietals. I mean, we've got so many. I don't want to list them right now, but just know there are probably in specialty coffee being used today, probably about 30, 40, 50 bean varietals, sub-varietals, mutations. So the coffee bean itself has mutated over the last few hundred years, and probably more rapidly in the last 100 years in specialty coffee. But if you go back to the beginning, you're talking about Arabica, Robusta, and Liberica, I think it's called, the third varietal that I don't know too much about. But also Robusta, we don't want to know too much about. It's a very hardy coffee bean, but it's pretty gross. We do know that it has a lot of bitterness to it. Easy to grow, but a yucky flavor. And the Arabica bean, that's the one that's harder to grow. That's the specialty coffee bean. And it has branched out over the years into many sub-varietals. So it started with just one or two, you could say, the Typica and the Bourbon. So the Bourbon really sits at the sort of base of that tree in terms of Arabica specialty coffee. Very early on, the Bourbon is already starting to branch out. It hits South America, and then it becomes the pink Bourbon in Colombia predominantly. There's called the orange Bourbon. I'm still trying to research this. Is the orange Bourbon a different one to the pink, or is it just named the orange Bourbon? Well, there's much to tell about that, but today we have a pink Bourbon. That's coffee number one. And the red Bourbon found its home in El Salvador, as well as Rwanda, Rwanda being its sort of ancestral home. And we have them here today. We have an El Salvador's coffee number 2, and coffee number 4 by Craft House is the other red Bourbon. And of course, why not celebrate the Bourbon in the Peaberry variety? Now, the Peaberry is an interesting one because the Peaberry is not so much a bean varietal as more sort of what happens to a coffee bean. It's the mutation where the two flat beans become one. So if you were to see the coffee beans inside the coffee fruit, pick up your coffee beans now, a typical one, not the Peaberry, and you'll see that they have a flat side and the curved side. So when you put two of them together, you get that perfect sphere. And that's how two coffee beans sit in the fruit. They sit in pairs. They're twins. They always sit together in pairs. But nobody's perfect. And 1 in maybe 50 or 100 or 1 in 10, I'm not sure the exact stats, but every now and then, one bean appears, a Peaberry. The coffee cherry in every varietal or most varietals can produce Peaberries. And those Peaberries are separated and they are sought after because they have a different kind of taste. They have a juiciness to them. And here the Peaberry varietal, I hope if you take a couple of these, or no, just one will do. You can see has no flat side, not able to hold a twin in the pod because it has no flat side. So these things, they either float to the surface or the machine actually, I think, separates them. The machine shakes and shakes, and Peaberries have this slightly different shape. So they're easy to separate, and then they get bought as pure Peaberry sub-varietals of a particular bean varietal. So you could have, in this case, the Peaberry Bourbon. Very interesting that in itself. So this is a great exploration, I think, of the Bourbon varietal. So it's taken its root in South America, El Salvador, Colombia, Rwanda, and it has made its way to other countries as well, but we only have 4 samples today. So the 5th one, now this is a Bourbon as well, the mystery orange bag, is it not? Yes, it is another Bourbon, but we're not telling you where it's from. It's guess the origin for the mystery orange bag. So those of you who have the mystery orange bag, please make sure that you play the game and post about it if you are to win a full bag next month. So a fun game. And last month's challenge was altitude, was a very hard one. I think this month's guess the origin for mystery orange bag number 5 is going to be slightly easier. So let's get grinding, guys. Get your spoons and your cups and everything ready. Get your tasting cards ready. Now I'll talk you through the tasting cards as well. But I think we should get grinding because some of you are using hand grinders. I'm going to use the Ode, and I'm going to put it on between 2 and 3 because that says cupping on the dial. So it's pretty fine grind, but it's not really an overall fine grind because the Ode doesn't really grind super fine. So
Jonathan
cupping.
made a comment.
Yes, Jonathan.
Grind, click 22.
20 Commandante, yes, excellent, Jonathan. 22, did you say? Mm-hmm. Well, we said 26, but I think 22 is about right. So I'm going to do more research on that. But some of you, if you're doing 26, let me know if that's a good click for you. Or what is the happy clicks for you on a Comandante? Because, well, I assumed it was 26. But thank you for that, Jonathan. Let's get grinding. Start with number 1. Okay, in it goes. Right. So I'll be a bit quicker than those using the Comandante. Just let me know when everyone's ready. Right, now that's why I do love the oud, because it's super fast. But I don't want to be ahead of you guys, so dry aroma, also very, very important part of the process, is to take it in. I'm going to heat the kettle now, actually. Get your kettles heated as well. Ah, that's a lovely dry aroma for the pink Bourbon. Okay, but you don't want to score anything, I think, on the dry aroma, because it's not going to tell you much of the story. It'll tell you some, but only a little bit. You just want to kind of add that to what you know about the coffee. Right. Okay. Coffee number 2 by Langøra. The first of the red Bourbons. Okay. And grind. Yes.
So, Jujumon says it depends. You can get away with 25, but also like 18.
18, wow. So somebody says you can get away between 18 to all the way to 25. Then I would say 22 seems to be right on the money. 22 or 23 is, in my opinion. I don't want to go too coarse. I think you do want, 26 feels like it would be too coarse for a cupping session. Because everything is about, that's why you boil the water. You don't want low temperature and you don't want too coarse to grind. A cupping is about shining a big bright light on your coffee and revealing stuff. And temperature and finer grinds is how you do that. This isn't about balance today. This isn't about achieving sort of a cup of coffee that you're going to savor. What you're going to savor is the comparative experience of 4 coffees. If you had 1 cup of coffee, I think you wouldn't cup it. You wouldn't do it without filter paper because it's just not necessary. So for cupping purposes, this is more a comparative analysis. Don't worry about the overall individual quality of a cup of coffee during a cupping session.
Also, Natalie says on the Brazza, we call for 20 this time. 17 was too fine.
Wow, this is the kind of feedback we love to hear. So 17 was too fine on the Baratza last time, and now you're going for 20. So Baratza people, you're getting a heads up that 17 was possibly too fine. Okay, it's a really good thing to do, guys, is to share what you learned from the last cupping and give everybody a heads up as to where you think it could be improved. Because I only have one grinder. There are people out there with all kinds of grinders, and we want to know what the best thing is for everything. So let's do it as a group, everybody. Okay, the next coffee is the last coffee, the 4th coffee by Craft House. It's another red Bourbon. And I have to say, I'm already hearing in the Coffee Club Lounge reports that the Langøra number 2 red Bourbon from El Salvador and the number 4 red Bourbon from Rwanda, they're very different, very, very different to each other. So that's something you guys might want to consider doing, is doing a instant sip between 2 and 4. 2 different red Bourbons, a South American and an African. So you've got Africa versus South America, red Bourbon. Right. And there's number 5 now. So this is the bonus one. Don't worry, guys. This is not for everyone, and I won't spend too much time on this one. Okay.
What's the challenge, by the way?
Right, the challenge is this month is guess the origin. So last month it was guess the altitude. That's a really hard one. And it was obviously the closest wins on altitude. This time, we can't give a winner to someone with the closest origin. It's going to have to be the actual origin. Okay. Right.
Black
So,
Honey Girl is yellow.
excellent. Great to see you, Black Honey Girl, and great to see all of you guys. So if you want to make yourselves known, if you are Coffee Club members as well, be great to know that you're here so we can talk in the lounge at a later date about today's events as well. So I'm done grinding. Is everybody ready? I've got my hot water. I'm about ready to pour. We're going to start the timer as soon as we pour it. So we've got 2 stages. We've got a pour. We wait for 4 minutes. Then we break the crust and we do the aroma. That's a really fun stage. What we're going to do is we're going to get the spoons. After we've poured all the water, waited 4 minutes, break the crust, push the coffee so it all sinks, and then take in that aroma because that crust has been trapping a lot of the fresh aroma. And then once you've done that, just with the 2 spoons, scoop out around the edges anything left over. Just go through all 4 coffees doing that and marking down the aroma. And that's the stage 1 of the cupping. Then you're going to wait another 10 minutes. That's the brewing time, the sort of steeping immersion. Then when that's done, we're going to get sipping properly. Okay, so get your kettles ready.
Wait, Jujumon says don't use hard water is my tip. For filter 2 to 3 DH or about 50 ppm is key.
Wow, well that's very technical stuff, ppm, all that sort of thing. We're using mineral water, so use mineral water. Filtered water is good as well, certainly if you're using a good filter system. And yeah, just the BPM thing, the ppm is a good one to note.
Great. Let's wait for people if they're ready.
Yeah. Is everyone ready? I mean, just say ready, text ready. You can't shout on YouTube with me hearing you. So I'll just give it a little bit more time. No, there's a lot of people grinding, you know, you just want to make sure the timing's right. And for anybody watching this not live, like later on, you're free to skip backwards and forwards at any point. So pause me if I've moved too far ahead. That's something you can do when you watch it not live.
So when you start pouring, start from number 1, please.
Yeah, okay, I'm ready. Should we go?
Max is not ready yet.
Max, hurry up, Max. Okay, so any other questions about the Bourbons? I mean, think about it. When I look at the tree and what bean varietals there are, and they all come from the Bourbon, I'm going to look at it now on my little tree thing. So this is really interesting. And
Sorry,
very
Jonathan.
low res image. I can't
Jonathan
see that.
says
Yes.
He's ready. Then he says, I was shouting to my computer, but you didn't hear it.
That's the point, Jonathan. Gonna have to type for me to hear you. So.
Okay, Max is ready.
All right, I think we should get going. Max, we will consider the slowest. So here we go. I'm not going to use any scales because I'm using cupping bowls. So basically put 200 ml in if you're using odd shaped cups. And here we go.
Starting the time.
Starting the time. And do start the timer once you start pouring. So that's number 1, nearly to the top. Number 2, this isn't an exact science, don't worry, because of the nature of the way we're brewing. You just need to get roughly the same amount of water in each. Okay? So if you're not using, I don't know, 12 to 200, if you're not using that ratio, just make sure that you don't mix ratios. I think that's the best advice in terms of getting your own cupping experience consistent. Right. So that's it. Now I can just get rid of the kettle. Okay. And 4 minutes we're waiting for.
Yep.
And then you're going to get 1 spoon and you're going to break the crust and you're going to smell it. And then you're going to write down, is the aroma subtle, medium, strong? You put your mark, an X, a clean X on the chart. Now, reading these, I do this once a month. I go through your cards and I read them. I really, really want that to be a fun experience. So I must tell you, it's important that you put your names down on the card. We haven't made room for that here. We've put down where you write the edition and the date. But in between where it says tasting card and edition, like above the number 2 and 3, please mark clearly your name and or your Instagram handle. That way we can tag you, we can find out who it is, we can always reference and go, this is Jonathan's card or Pradeep's card, and he found there was acidity and this and this and that. Whatever it is I'm going to talk about, I need to know who I'm talking about as well. And you'll want to know. You don't want me to spend 10 minutes finding who it is on the computer. I'd like to know straight away. So please, all of you, write on your tasting cards at the top your name and or your Instagram handle or something, just some way of identifying you. and put all your X's in the tasting card cleanly. But other than that, feel free to express yourselves in very fun and interesting ways on your tasting card. I'm not looking for boring tasting cards. Just make them legible. Simon Stern, please make them legible, and make them put your name on them. That's all I can say, really. It's just so we can find who you are. I'll put my name down on mine now. Tim.
Is there any tips for scooping the coffee?
The scoop, I'm not really great at this, but what I tend to do is if you're looking at the cup now from above, my spoons kind of go in together, back to back at one edge, and then I go round. See, I can't even do it above, but I go into the cup, and then I go round, and then just scoop the scum off like that, and then in. So back to back, and then around. See, but I'm doing it that way. Obviously, I'm just showing you that way, so you can see from above how it would look. Spoons back to back, scoop around the edge and out. That's after you've done this part, okay? So the first part of breaking the crust is just push, okay? It's not really a crust that's hard. It's a soft crust. So you just need to push one way and push the other. And that breaks it open, lets the smell out, the steam, and the coffee grounds sink. So you're doing two things at once there. Very important, that. Okay.
25 seconds more.
25 seconds, and then we get to the first stage, the aroma. Now remember, if you're not sure, if you smell the first one and you think, I just don't know yet if this is a subtle or strong aroma, then smell the second one, and then the third, and then you'll go, comparatively, it's subtle. So things you're never sure about in terms of aroma, mouthfeel, acidity, body, or finish can sometimes help by comparison. So you'll go, sip, don't know, sip 2, sip 3, number 1, now I understand. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. Okay, here we go. Coffee number 1, I'm going to break the crust. Right. There's that aroma. And it's the first one of the day, so I'm not going to put down anything yet because I'm just not sure. Is that a strong aroma? There, took the scum out, dip it into the glass,
Then wash it.
tap it, then you clean it. So the first one is to remove, the second one is to clean, then dip on the towel, and then I will deal with the second one. I will analyze the second one once I understand 1, 2 as well. So here we go, breaking the crust with 1 spoon. Wow, that's already a much stronger aroma. And funkier. Wow, number 2. Is anyone else getting that sort of funky kind of aroma? Very interesting. So that already tells me that comparatively, number 2 must have a strong aroma to number 1. Right, dip, clean, and tap. So now I'll mark it down as subtle, kind of, for number 1, and a bit stronger for number 2. So that's how I build my understanding. Comparison, comparison, comparison. Okay. Number 3.
Natalie says not much crust on the Peaberry.
Not much crust on the Peaberry. Agreed. Mine's quite thin as well. Interesting as well. Okay, breaking number 3. Yeah, very thin. Number 4's is a bit thicker.
And Black Honey Girl says, which Bourbon are very excited more?
Sweet
Curious.
smell. Which Bourbon? Sorry, Black Honey Girl?
Are they excited about which Bourbon?
Is everybody?
Is everybody
A
excited?
question from Black Honey Girl to everybody. Which Bourbon excites you the most? Shout it out. Just say pink, Peaberry, or red. Great question, that. So the aroma for number 3 is very interesting, and a very sweet one as well. Haven't smelt such a sweet aroma come through at this stage in quite a while. Okay. Wow. Number 4, it really smells boozy. Now, I tasted this coffee in several ways, and I don't taste much booziness. It has got some heady notes, but that boozy aroma is really interesting. Is anyone else getting that? Right, oops, I've got to clean that one up. Okay. Do your job, Tim. Right. Dip. That removes. Clean and tap. I'll get rid of some of the scum in here as well. Okay, and dip. Clean.
You're getting better.
I'm getting the hang of this. Right, there's practically no crust on number 5. Interesting, maybe I just left it too long. Wow, and practically no aroma. Fascinating. I am not going to write anything down. The cards don't, the ones online do include a 5th column, but don't really want to break it down too much, number 5. But very, very low aroma. Interesting. I'm going to be more interested in that taste though. So, the red Bourbons, that's 2 and 4, they have, I think, the strongest aroma, or at least the booziest. That's an interesting thing. And are they both naturals? I can't remember. Let me see. So number 4 is a natural, and number 2 is a natural. So I love that. You're going to get today, I mean, if you'd had a red Bourbon washed versus a red Bourbon natural, then I think it would be less interesting, because you'd taste you'd have 2 very different coffees, but it was probably the process that's most likely to have affected that difference. So the fact that they're both natural red Bourbons means and they're light roasted coffees. So remember, if you were receiving a red Bourbon from 2 different roasters who weren't third wave, you honestly would have struggled to taste the difference, because as I say, light roast is the right roast, and it's for specifically that reason. You want to taste terroir. Light roasting coffee, all these fantastic roasters that stick to those basic principles of light roasting, means they are keeping themselves, the roaster, out of the way. They're saying the terroir of this coffee, the origin, the place of which this coffee came from, I want you to taste. I don't want to get in the way and give you that familiar, boring coffee burnt taste. I want to light roast it so that where the coffee came from and all the work that went into cleaning that coffee and growing it, you will taste. And that's why in specialty coffee with a great roaster, and these great roasters, you're going to taste from Langøra one kind of red Bourbon that's very much of El Salvador's character, and then you're going to taste the red Bourbon by Craft House Coffee Roasters that very much represents the Rwandan red Bourbon and what it brings. So great celebration of the Bourbons in those 2 alone. And then the Peaberry Bourbon, a great example of not only the Peaberry's unique nature and its sort of delicate unusualness, but Tanzania as well. As you know from last month with, was it Mlama? That coffee was it's just such an incredible coffee. And I'm noticing that from Tanzania, is it sort of lemon pepper notes, things like that you tend to get? These kind of herbal but light sort of crisp herbs, I would say. Ethiopia, you can get kind of summer meadow herbs and caramel herbs and deep herbal florals and things like that. Tanzania, I'm beginning to detect from last month's Mlama and this month's Peaberry by Pacamara, tend to give you kind of these excellent hibiscusy notes, things like that. Fascinating stuff, really. And
Natalie said
yes,
pink Bourbon.
Pink Bourbon.
Yeah, she's most excited about.
Right, now the pink Bourbon excites most people, I have to say, because every time I taste a pink Bourbon, I get super excited as well. It's I could almost call some pink Bourbons like geisha-like beans. They really exhibit these sort of tremendous complexities. So what we love about geishas is that they have deep notes and florals. So you can get jamminess and flowers and all these layers, like a lasagna of complexity. And I think that the pink Bourbon shows that as well. You can get these kind of floral notes mixed with syrupy notes sometimes. Don't know what it is, but they're almost like geisha beans often. And that's why I think the pink Bourbon just excites people very instantly.
And in the lounge, we had this.
Oh yeah. Now in our coffee club lounge, a place you should all be visiting if you're coffee club members. So was it Aiko?
So 5 votes for pink Bourbon.
Aiko, did you create this?
Yes.
Right, so Aiko wrote, which coffee in the June edition are you most excited? So who are you, before you had received the taster set, we wanted to know a vote for which coffee bean varietal you were most excited about. And the results were?
So Pink Bourbon 5 votes.
5 votes for Pink Bourbon.
I mean, number 2 got 3 votes, and number 4 got 4 votes.
Yeah.
So that's Red Bourbon.
Red Bourbon came in number 2. Which Red Bourbon? Gatare. So the Rwandan Red Bourbon was what people were second most excited about, but the Pink Bourbon, see, just gets people most excited. What I would love to see is the comparative vote at the end. So what was your favorite coffee at the end of the month, and which one are you most excited about at the beginning of the month? So we know the stats on the beginning of the month. After this session today, maybe tomorrow, we'll put another vote on the Coffee Club Lounge, and it'll be for just what was your favorite coffee. I guess though, when we get the tasting cards and we collect the scores, that's when we get the final results of everyone's favorite coffees. And we know last month the winner was Vanelli by far, right? Everyone went nuts for Vanelli.
Do you want to take off the...
Is it time to take off the hat and get serious? How many minutes do we have left?
Less than 1 minute.
Okay, in less than 1 minute, we're going to be sipping. So get your spoons ready, guys. Get your tasting cards ready. So we're going to go through the mouthfeel. Remember, this is the experience of how does it feel in the mouth. So is the texture of the coffee gloopy, light, crisp, dry? How does it feel? Your tastes will affect the mouthfeel, but you've got to keep removing that in your mind. This is an exercise like, okay, I'm tasting strawberries, but ignore that. Is the strawberries making it tingly? Are the strawberries making it syrupy? Ignore the strawberry note, concentrate on the mouthfeel. Acidity, how sharp or crisp does it feel in your mouth? Body, that's the overall weight of the coffee. It's similar to mouthfeel. It's something else I'll talk about as we go through it. And then the finish. That's an interesting one. As soon as you've stopped sipping the coffee, you've just got to imagine, like when you hit the piano, how long does the note, can you hear it after you've stopped? So that's an important one to analyze as well. And again, comparisons will help. Spoons ready. Here we go. And coffee number 1. Got my pen. Mouthfeel. So I'm going to go sip, sip, sip all 4 times. Okay. It has a certain mouthfeel. Clean the spoon. Langøra. And just so you know, Langøra, coffee number 2, it's from Norway. And a very interesting thing is that it comes from FINCA NORUEGA as well. So in El Salvador, this comes from a farm called Norwegian Farm because the original owner was Norwegian. I think the son is half Norwegian. So that's a really interesting thing that you've got Norway going on the whole way through. Right. Mouthfeel on 1 and 2. I'm going to go again. Both quite light, aren't they? Interesting. Okay, so mouthfeel. Clean to cloudy. Right, got it. Got it. Okay, number 3. The Peaberry now by Pacamara. Italian roasters Pacamara, showing us that Italy is becoming a really exciting place for specialty coffee roasting. Some amazing roasters coming out there every year, and we can't wait to work with all of them. Right, okay. Oops, just spilled coffee. Sorry about that. Okay. My slurping skills. Okay. Number 3. Wow. Wow, interesting. Don't get carried away. It can get very exciting and you can sort of sip it and go, oh, I can taste this from it and the acidity. But you've got to just concentrate on the one thing. Right now I'm doing mouthfeel. So number 4. Also, this is a race through the temperatures. Right. I think we've got some similarities going on here in terms of mouthfeel. Interesting, right? Not too much in terms of varied mouthfeels. For me, they all kind of hit the same point. Now I'm going to clear my brain, just like I dipped the spoon in water. I'm going to dip my brain in a kind of water sorbet experience. Clean my mind out. Acidity now, that's all I'm focused on. Here we go. Number 1. Okay. And number 2. Acidity. Oh, okay. Now the differences are more varied. In terms of mouthfeel, that was a tough one this month, but I think the acidity is going to be easier to separate. Might want to rinse your mouth out as well at this point. Thanks, Heiko. That's important. Don't let it all build up. Okay, number 3 now. Yep, okay. Plenty of coffee stains on my tasting card already. Ah, there we go. Number 4. Don't know about you guys, but low on the acidity. Okay. Body now. So, how does it feel? Is it full in the mouth? Or is it light? Okay, the body. Just go with your gut instincts. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, wow. Number 2, getting smoky now. Okay, body, light, full. Okay, number 3.
Jonathan says, so I'm curious about Tim's tasting cards. Can we see it after you collected all?
You want to compare with mine? Sure. We'll see mine only after everybody. I don't want to influence anybody. And I know that I get influenced the more I look at other people. So if anything, doing a cupping session like this compared to cupping sessions maybe in public is better, because you haven't got the person next to you to compare with and be influenced by. You're just sort of in your own bubble, being guided by me and some other people online through comments. And that, I think, is good exercise. So I will show you mine, but I don't want to influence you. Okay, now the finish. Quickly fry through them because the temperature is going down. So, number 1. Okay. Yeah, I would say the finish is quite short. I've had shorter. Okay, number 2.
Yeah, this one's 90 hours extended.
Yeah, extended fermentation in wine, or was something? White wine fermentation? No, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry, ignore that. Okay, number 2. Right, that's a surprise. Langøra's finish is quite short for a natural, so I'm really, really surprised by a lot of this today. Okay, number 3. What's going on? Some coffees have longer finishes and they're not naturals, although that one's quite short as well.
Langøra is already improving as it gets cold.
It is. It's really changing. Oh, there we go. Finally, a long finish. Ish. Okay. And number 5, that strange mystery coffee. Right. And there it is. Okay. So now flavor notes. Oh, not just flavor notes, flavor groups. Okay. So look at those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors under each group, under each coffee. So that's basic flavor groups. Not an easy thing to do, not a test. It's just something we want to see how you guys do, how you would profile a coffee this way, because it's something we use to sort of give the coffees that we put on the marketplace an overall category of flavor. It's not accurate, but sometimes you could have coffees that have lots of nuts and I don't know, nutty flavors in there, but then the overall feel of the coffee might be sweet, not nutty cocoa, just because that's the overall experience. Even though individual notes could be nuts, lemon, something like that, which is fruit and nuts, but then you could categorize the coffee sweet, just because it felt like a sweet experience. So don't necessarily put, if you're tasting fruits, as fruity as the overall thing. It could be that it's still a floral coffee, something like that. Go through it that way. Put down your most interesting flavor notes as well. You don't need to put more than 2 or 3 per coffee. just the ones that you think most prominently describe that coffee. So for instance, number one, just going to take a sip of water. Okay, number one. For me, right, tasting, let me see, pink Bourbon. That's definitely a kind of acidic fruit. So I'm going to look on citrus fruit straight away. There's my flavor wheel. And I'm going to think that's sort of grapefruit. So that for me is grapefruit. Because I'm not trying too hard. I'm just going with an instinctual sort of, there's something juicy. It's citrusy. It's not orange. I know the taste of orange. Grapefruit has this kind of light citrusiness. So it's not the only flavor note. If you're battling in your mind saying, but it's not this, it's something else. It could be this. Put both down. That's what flavor notes are for. So I get grapefruit. And now I've done that one. Remove the grapefruit from your mind and taste it again. And look for what else is in there. And it's something in the retro taste. It's almost like a hibiscus note. In fact, I'll just say that. If I say grapefruit and hibiscus, it's fine. So I get a kind of hibiscus. Now, grapefruit, I'm going to say it's about
sorry,
40%.
Can you please repeat five flavor categories?
The 5 flavor categories, sure. They come from the flavor wheel. If you look, that all the good flavor notes, that's the top half, all those millions of notes start at the base of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's spices and all the spicy notes, nutty cocoa and all the nutty cocoa notes. That's nuts, cocoa, chocolate, that kind of thing. And then you've got sweet, vanilla, sugar, brown sugar, caramel, sweet notes. Sweet is a category. Then you've got floral. So you've got hibiscus, which I just said, although I'm not sure that's floral. Yeah, hibiscus and flowers and jasmine and all those sort of things. That's a floral category. And then probably the biggest category of all, fruity, because there are many subcategories of fruity as well. Citrus fruit, other fruit, stone fruit, but fruity is a sort of whole category. And those are the 5. So I would say on the first coffee, in my opinion, I don't want to over-influence you. I've got grapefruit about 40%. I've got hibiscus at about 20%. Probably a couple more notes, but I won't go too far into that. So, but is the overall nature of this coffee fruity?
Cranberries.
It's got a kind of dry fruit, right?
Yeah.
So you could say the overall nature of coffee number 1 is fruity. But for me, it's sort of like spices and fruity. So dry fruit is the overall nature, but fruity, because we don't have a subcategory. I've put a circle around the red fruity.
Lemongrass, maybe?
Lemongrass, that's a really good one. But again, I've put hibiscus and grapefruit. Somebody else could say lemongrass and something else, and you arrive at the same thing roughly, just through a different formula of flavor notes. Flavor notes are just their opinions. So remember that. My grapefruit and hibiscus combination, that's just an opinion, and I want other people to express themselves very individually. Sorry, Natalie, yes?
Sorry, rhubarb for number 1 hits on the tip of the tongue.
Wow, rhubarb, you see? Now, if I taste it and I agree, that's where my brain's going to go. But if I don't, it's not going to go there. Here we go. Yeah, I can see why you would taste rhubarb. I think rhubarb for me has something a bit sweeter in there. But if for you rhubarb represents that, I think that's wonderful. Not crazy at all, really. Wet dog, now that's a crazy flavor note. I don't want to hear things like that. But rhubarb, fine. Be varied, guys. Okay, so we're getting cooler now. I'm going to go for number 2. Langøra is definitely revealing itself to be one of the more interesting coffees today in the cupping session style of brewing. Wow, it sort of goes from chocolatey to something much more interesting very quickly. Doesn't it? It's like deep nuts. I'm getting a nutty flavor, but it's not heavy. It's just got a depth. It's got this kind of unusual nutty depth.
Spice, I would say.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Very, I think, complex nuts. That's what I'm going to say. Complex, light nuts.
something like coconut in it.
Very interesting. Let's go with the Peaberry now.
Oh, that was quick.
Whoa, I
That was
nearly
quick.
dipped into the water. Ooh, don't dip into your sipping water.
Number 2 is nutty, Jonathan says.
Yep, and complex nuts, right? Sort of, I don't know, let me try again. I know I should, after sipping all this, be spitting into a cup because I'm probably going to get too caffeinated, but I just enjoy drinking coffee in the morning anyway, so consider this as me drinking 2 cups of coffee. That's okay, really, so you don't always have to spit the coffee out.
But there's acidity in it too.
There is. There's the surprise. For a natural coffee, a lot of acidity in that. It's really, really amazing how specialty coffee in the last few years has rapidly improved, and to the point where funky naturals really happen now, I think by choice in a controlled measure, as opposed to naturals, you could say 10 years ago, being so wild and crazy just because the beans themselves didn't get, I don't know, the treatment they get today is just incredible.
Philip says, I got peanut from number 2.
Peanut from number 2. So that seems to be the consensus. Light, clean, complex nuts.
Yeah, I think the butteriness I get maybe peanut. Hazelnut from number 2, Natalie.
Number 3, when I sip it, just for a split second, before I get anything else, I get lemon. And I think that's Tanzania. Every time I drink a Tanzanian coffee.
Jonathan is getting green apple.
Green apple from what?
Number 2.
Wow. Wow, really interesting. Okay, I'm going to move on to number 4 quickly because I've got to bounce around. They're getting cooler.
Oh, there's no number 3?
I just did number 3 as well.
Oh.
I'm just bouncing around them now. So, wow.
People are talking about number 3 right now.
Okay, what's number 3 to everybody? Are you getting that lemon hit? It's
Yeah.
really, really interesting. I got that last month from Lama as well. So I'm starting to understand Tanzania as a terroir. I really, really enjoy that kind of, that's what I said at the beginning, is that the tasting experience it's obviously about pleasurable coffee, but more importantly, it's about understanding terroir so that in the future you have in your brain benchmarks. You understand what this terroir is going to be, and so it makes you respect really what the roaster brings to the coffee, how the roaster maybe has pushed the coffee, maybe the farmer has created a new processing method that allows what you understand about that coffee to be appreciated in a new way. Oh, I know that Tanzanian coffees should do that. So the fact that you've done it this way makes me enjoy it even more. Knowledge is what gives great pleasure to specialty coffee. Your brain understands things in a certain way, but your taste buds, they learn things as well. And it doesn't really matter if your flavor identification process isn't accurate. It's just your taste buds are receiving the coffee and learning themselves anyway. And yeah, you will be learning by sipping. You don't have to necessarily get it accurate, just keep sipping.
Okay, number 3. Natalie is lemon and walnut.
Lemon and walnut. I don't know about walnuts. Maybe. I get the sort of... Yeah, I mean, you could say that. That's an interesting one. I'll give you that. Lemon and walnuts, because the walnut isn't... It's the mildest of nuts, isn't it? So I do feel like there's something like that in there.
And Simon said pomelo.
Pomelo. Now, what's pomelo taste like? I don't really remember. Okay.
Citrus.
Yeah, that's interesting. You see, sometimes people put flavor notes to fruit that I haven't even tried. So you're allowed to, your brain is going to go to places with fruit that you're familiar with. So a child can probably just give you, if they're good at identifying flavors, an accurate assessment only based on their own experience. So you can accurately say things based on what you've tasted before, not what things you might imagine. Very interesting that. So I'll have to taste a pomelo before I can start saying I'm tasting pomelo in my coffees.
Is this because Peaberry has got more acidity?
Could be, but I'm not sure if that's what Tanzania brings, or because this is it's a natural coffee, isn't it? No, it's a washed coffee.
Yeah.
So I'm getting some gentle acidities from all the coffees today, whether they're natural, whether they're washed. So it could be that the acidity is enhanced by the Peaberry, but I think it's just this Tanzanian magicness that is you're tasting more there in this coffee. And perhaps the Peaberry part is, it's some of the lighter notes in there, maybe the lychee flavor, something like that. Some sort of acidity. The lychee flavor. That's what they said is one of the flavor notes. I shouldn't have said that, but that's a flavor note they say, and it's something that it's a characteristic. I mean, I don't love lychees, but I do get something lemony and this kind of high acidity in there.
Natalie's getting bergamot as well, and Max is getting nutmeg spice.
What, from number 3? Not getting the nutmeg spice. Really interesting. I think they might be talking about coffee number 4 now.
Nope.
Okay. Well, 4 for me is the one that has some of the spices and some of the classic Rwandan sort of depth. What I love about Rwandan coffees is that richness that they have. They really have these delicious kind of plummy, deep flavor notes. And this coffee, at first when I brewed it, I think it was in the Kalita, it had this sort of spiciness to it. I was using my standard 12-200 Kalita recipe. And then with Tom Osborne, the founder, roaster of Craft House Coffee, we had our brewing chat. He gave us a fantastic recipe, and it tasted so much more balanced. Really, really beautiful coffee, and I really recommend. It's possibly a fussy coffee that only likes certain recipes. Highly, highly recommend you use Tom's recipe on this coffee, and I'll be talking more about it in the coffee club, because coffee number 4 went from being probably my least favorite of the 4 to one of my favorites. It probably is my favorite coffee right now of all 4, if brewed right though. So if you brew it right, the Rwandan Gatare, woo, an amazing one.
Natalie said something super interesting for number 4.
Mm.
I'm not going to tell you yet.
There's so much going on in number 4. It's got butteriness, it's got kind of rich spices, it's got depth, but none of it's too heavy. And I almost get this kind of marzipan sweetness.
Yeah.
So I can't tell if number 4 overall is a spices category coffee or a sweet. Just like number 1, is it really overall fruity or overall floral? I would say number 4 is sort of jumping between spices and sweet. So I'm going to put both because I can't decide. Spicy sweets. Okay. What? Anise? Maybe, something like that. But the spices are just so delicious. Really, really amazing.
Natalie said, is there cabbage in number 4?
Cabbage? Cabbage? You're not talking about that dreaded potato defect, I hope. Now, if you want to know about that, go visit one of our videos we did. I think it was, it was with the Barn in Berlin. That was for our coffee club we did years ago. And we interviewed Ralph from the Barn, and he talks about what they do in Rwanda to make sure that the coffee beans don't get that potato defect. Because it's when the mosquito lays an egg, I think, in one of the coffee beans, and then the whole bag, the whole sort of batch or lot of coffee can get infected, and then they get this potato-y taste. That's not happening here because you'd know straight away. And it just shows you that in order to prevent that, the farmers, they have to go by hand and check each bean. And that's a real dedication and amazing thing that they do to make sure that you get beautiful coffee. So no cabbage for me in number 4, but I'm getting a plethora of flavors.
I like cabbage too.
Wow. It's sticky, sweet delight. Absolutely beautiful complexity, juiciness, acidity. I think number 4 Gatare is so amazing because it gives you everything. It's one of those coffees that sort of just delivers 10 punches at once of incredible variety. Wow. Woo! Well, it's a great session, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to score the coffees. That's for you guys to do. I love them all, and I just want to know which ones were your favorites. So just put down your most honest scores and fun flavor notes. And I'll be going through all your cards very soon. And if you have coffee number 5, if you have the mystery orange bag copy, that means you've got a challenge as well inside. Take the challenge, because the challenge is this month. Guess the origin. What is the origin of coffee number 5? Guess it right, and ye shall win a full bag.
Number 5, orange bag is quite tasty coffee actually.
Yeah, I'm going to taste number 5 now.
Pretty high acidity, citrusy.
Yeah, gentle sort of mandarin acidity.
Yeah.
It's got a lovely kind of gentle mandarin acidity. Can we reveal what the bean varietal is?
Varietal is Bourbon.
The varietal is a Bourbon, just so you know. That's the clue. Coffee number 5 is a Bourbon. Can we reveal the roaster?
Nope.
No. Okay. We can't tell you which roaster it is. Can we reveal something about the roaster connected here?
No.
No? Okay. So just know that that it's coffee. That's all I can tell you. It's coffee is in the bag. And what else have I got to talk about then?
Can I read the message?
Read some messages. We're wrapping up soon, guys.
Alina says, may sound a bit crazy, but due to extreme complexity of the third cup,
Yeah.
I got a taste of Italian dried oven tomatoes in oil.
Oh my God. Put that down on the card. I love that. By some happy accident, you get oven-dried tomatoes. Oven-dried Italian tomatoes. Fantastic. And that's a thing, you know. If you look at, we don't represent them yet, workshop coffee roasters, absolutely love their coffee. But if you look at their flavor descriptions, very poetic, very specific. They'll talk about peeled apple skin that's been baked for 3 hours or something like that. That's all fine. Conjuring up these kind of romantic images is part of the love and appreciation of specialty coffee. There just isn't room for that kind of poetry on our cards. But if you want to express yourself like that, please do, guys.
And Jonathan said it was a bit difficult session today in terms of taste notes.
Yes, I think it was. I think that some months we're going to have coffees where they're quite similar in some ways, and that's going to be interesting. But every month is going to be a different adventure. Next month, can't really reveal yet. I mean, can I reveal? Can I reveal next month? Is it time?
Yes, but can I read this?
We still got comments. We'll get through the comments and then I'll reveal next month.
Yep.
But yes, just know, Jonathan, that some months we're going to have everything sort of pointing towards one thing. And that's because we aim to do that. We wanted you to sort of see that those 4 coffees belong to something together, that they're going to have some kind of similarities. And I want you to appreciate those similarities. You've got 4 Bourbons here from across 2 different continents. So if they are similar, it's understandable. But let's highlight what the small differences are and why. I mean, think about Langøra 2 and 4. Really interesting. If I sip that now and I taste 2 red Bourbons, but one from El Salvador and one from Rwanda, straight away I'm fascinated to see the differences.
Natalie and Simon agrees. There is a vegetable note in number 4.
A vegetable?
Yep.
A vegetable? What vegetable? I mean, we've got cabbage, but pea.
Maybe.
I think it's because the word Peaberry was in your head, so it made you think of pea. Don't be influenced by words.
But she also said very complex, number 4.
Yeah.
Pomegranate.
Pomegranate, wow. Really getting interesting with some of these flavors. Keep trying them out, guys. I'm ready to reveal next month's edition. Are we all ready? You can still tell me flavor notes. We're not going to stop.
Alina says number 4 is amazing. Cherry flavor notes.
I got cherry as well. It's sort of not a heavy cherry, but I think what surrounds it is all these kind of spices and complex notes that it can be tempting to say black cherry. But I don't think it's a black cherry. But I do agree, I am getting that. I think it's just straight cherry. Sometimes you get like tinned cherries or something like that. Not this time. I think it's just a straight, clean cherry surrounded by these other things. Very much agree with you on that.
Now Max
Sherry.
joins in. Wow, now I have to agree with P for number 4.
Pea? I'm not getting peas. I mean, what kind of peas?
Cooked peas
Yeah.
or raw?
Raw pea? Or is it like mushy peas, you know? That's an English tradition. Mushed up peas in this kind of green paste. I don't like that, but I think the taste of mushy peas might be a particular flavour. I'm not getting pea at all.
Actually, because it's now cool, like really cold,
Yeah.
you can get vegetable kind of thing.
Number 3. It's even lighter now. Number 3 seems to have, it's like the body has emptied out. It's not a problem. A lot of coffees do this as they cool. They become much, much lighter and have that kind of lemon finish. Light lemon finish is often what you'll get in a cup from certain coffees. As they tell their story, as they evolve from that hot, complex start, they can end up a very light, empty, almost hollow, slightly lemon finish. It's a common tale with some coffees. Very much so here with the Peaberry. And it's a nice way to finish a coffee often. Langøra's sort of finish would be similar. It's lighter, but it's not as light as the Pacamara, but I think it's got some kind of butteriness. So I really, really, really have enjoyed. It's been a surprise. I think the Red Bourbon from Langøra, in terms of, it's full of surprises. I think the one coffee out of all 4 of these that has had the most turnaround, has been one kind of coffee and then revealed itself to be another, is Langøra. I think the one that's been the most met my expectations, like I've loved it the same consistently from beginning to finish, is number 3, Pacamara. So most surprising Langøra, Pacamara most steady, and Craft House most beloved, I think. If you brew it just right, it can be a tricky one. Most challenging is number 4, but also potentially most beloved. Which leaves 19 grams. Number 1 for me is the one you'd expect to be the most beloved. I think it is great. It really is. But I'm loving each one of the other coffees in different ways as well for different reasons. So how can you pick one? I don't know. I love each one for different reasons. Now I'm going to try number 1 again. Wow. Number 1 is incredible. It's really changed now.
Yeah?
It sort of starts in this much more grapefruit hibiscus light and complex, but now it's got more kind of sweet, gentle, easy to drink flavor notes. Yeah, now you've got more sort of a candy sweetness. So that's really interesting. 19 grams coffee has almost completely changed. It's a story coffee. Started one way, grapefruit, hibiscus are the notes I wrote down. As it cools, there's more notes that you can write down. So I write, as it cools, or cold you can write, something like candy sweetness. What kind of fruit is that? Is it sweet or fruit? Let's see. It's maybe sweet aromatics I'm going to put. I can't quite identify it, but sweet aromatics.
Max's favorite is number 1.
Brilliant. It is a great one. Look, I love each one for different reasons. I love number 1 for the story. Number 2, Langøra, because it's just got incredible surprises. Number 3, because I love the Peaberry and its hibiscusy lightness. We used that for the Zoom class yesterday, number 3, and it was great. The AeroPress Brewing Workshop. I will actually post a short section of that workshop on our Coffee Club Lounge, because I want... Sorry?
I did yesterday.
Oh, you did? So we already have that on the lounge, because I want more people to join our Zoom class. They're a lot of fun. These kind of conversations that we're having today are even more easy to have on Zoom, because I can hear you. So I recommend that you guys, even if you're super experienced, come join our Zoom workshops. They are a lot of fun. And yesterday, we really did get the best, I think, out of coffee number 3 with an amazing AeroPress recipe by Suichi Sasaki, who's the 2014 AeroPress champion. It was a coarse ground, low temperature, slow press, really exciting recipe. And I think it did great justice to coffee number 3. And Craft House Coffee, like I said, brew it Tom's way and you'll get the most amazing cup of coffee. And coffee number 5, for the 8 people that have this mystery orange bag this month, you must enter to win with the hashtag mystery orange bag. And now, before I say goodbye, let's reveal what?
Yeah.
Let's reveal next month's edition. So next month's edition is going to be tropical. So it's all things tropical. Think Club Tropicana for our coffee club, because we're going to have our own Club Tropicana, and I think the edition is going to be called Tropicana. So it will be exploring 4 amazing coffees again, each with unique tropical flavors, and we're going to explore what that means, how those sort of tropical flavor notes were derived, and we're going to get very technical, very sort of in-depth information about it. The tropical theme, like I said, may seem fun and silly, but we get very serious about the reasons behind it here at the Coffee Club. So we look forward to that. Join us again next month for another cupping session and more. Meet the farmers, meet the roasters, meet the producers, all that sort of stuff. And July's going to be a lot of fun, you know? So, yeah, look forward to that.
Sorry, Max is suggesting, is it possible to publish the roaster interview on YouTube? Or the lounge? I don't have an Instagram account and cannot watch it.
Then the lounge will be the place to post it, because YouTube we're sort of separating as being the place for both live and for our more traditional videos, cafe guides, sort of videos where I do a lot more editing work and constructive kind of creative work, our coffee scene episodes, things like that, where we go out around the world. That's YouTube. So Instagram, I know it's not everybody can be on there, but it's become a very important place. It's where we have our biggest audience. So we kind of use that as a place to do our live interviews and things like that. But the Coffee Club Lounge definitely is going to be the place to put things that we can't put on YouTube or IGTV. So yes, we'll put them there. And apologies to people if you're not on Instagram. Just not DM on Instagram, just email me to say that you want access to different things and you're not seeing them. And we'll do the best we can. So next month, Tropicana, exciting stuff ahead. And yes, I have to make any other announcement?
We still have whole bags.
Oh, this is very important. Right. So the 20% off. Now, when you open a taster set box, you can see at the bottom the reminder that you can still get 20% off any of your favorite coffees. So we have just a few left of this month's Coffee Club coffees. Why not order one of them and you'll get it at 20% off? So is it sent with next month's edition? Yeah. If you want, it can be sent with next month's edition. So in just about a week's time, you could be getting an amazing taster set and for super cheap price, a whole bag of one of this month's coffees. That's the whole system that we have here. We always get hold of extra coffees of this so we can save you money. Remember, if you wanted to buy one of these amazing coffees that you only had 50 grams of, you'd have to spend a lot on shipping, and the cost of the coffee would be a lot higher if you went directly to the roaster. So we've set it up for you to get hold of more of these coffees. Try before you buy. That's one way to look at the taster set. So anything you want more of, now is the time, after the cupping, whatever, to just get hold of more of these coffees. They will sell out, so I do recommend that you get 1 or 2 or 3 bags with 20% off and no extra shipping if you get it with next month's edition. So everything is designed to save you money.
So if you purchase it, you're gonna get charged, but we are gonna refund.
That's important to note as well. Our system hasn't got it yet in place to remove the shipping charge, but it will get removed. So order one with 20% off and it will say £3, £4, £5 shipping or whatever. Don't worry about that. That's not going to happen. You're a Coffee Club member. We know, we can see the orders, we know who you are, and we'll make sure that you get it without the extra shipping. How about that, guys? We're doing everything we can to give you access to great coffee. Take full advantage of it. See you at next month's cupping. DM me for anything else you want. We're also going to be sending out surveys very soon, so we want to speak to some of you about how we can improve it. and we can do one-to-one, either phone calls or video calls if you want to give us a lot more feedback. But we want your survey feedback because we really do want to improve the right roast. So thanks again for joining us today. Great cupping session. Join us again next month. Upload your cards. Put your name on the top of the card so we know who you are. And see you in the Coffee Club Lounge where we can geek out on all of this much more. See you all very soon. Stay coffee enlightened, people. Bye for now.